Hey, it's Thursday, September 1st, year 2016, and we are heading into the Labor Day weekend, generally regarded as the official start of the election season, where people start really paying attention. From here on in, it all counts and it all matters. Who's ahead in the polls, everything. And it looks like Donald Trump's pivot has been at least the most successful pivot we've seen so far for about 2 weeks now. He's been on relatively good behavior, Trump speaking. There's been no meltdowns, no big public spectacle of himself that have taken him off message. And for that, I believe that you can credit one Kellyanne Conway, his new campaign manager. She seems to have a softening image. She seems to have a softening on him, softening influence. We will see. I've said in the past, if Donald Trump has another sidetrack where he goes after the Gold Star family or attacks a Mexican judge, and it's a 5-day news story, his campaign is completely over. So far there hasn't been one of those. But if there is one between now and November, he will not win. But now we're dealing with the new. Trump went to Mexico yesterday, and he had his big immigration speech, and we're dealing with a new chapter. Now, when we talk about race, one of the things I brought up in some of the other broadcasts, the Republicans have a real problem here. And this goes deeper than just Trump. Trump didn't solve the problem. Trump exacerbated the problem. And the problem is that you cannot win a national election without Hispanic voters. You just can't. If you look at a map of the country and you look at the populations in the country, the Latinos have become too big of a voting bloc to not get that you can just ignore them. They've become a much bigger voting bloc than black people, and they're growing. They're not shrinking. I don't know the statistics on African Americans, but I doubt that they're growing by any numbers. Latinos are growing astronomically. There's even talk that Texas may become a blue state soon because the Latino population there is exploding. And the smart Republicans have anticipated this, and they knew this coming into this election, that they have a Latino problem and they had to solve it. Because you can't win without at least a big enough chunk of the Latino population. Now, Trump totally upended that because he went right at the illegal immigration problem from the point of view of, more or less the racist, from the point of view of the white nationalist, and that's part of why he won, because he was really hardcore on illegal immigration and he wasn't compromising. But now even he has tried to pivot because he has realized that you cannot win without some Latino support. Now, the problem in the Republican land is that a lot of their hardcore anti-illegal immigrant tendencies of the base is actually racially motivated. That's a really, really, really big problem for Republicans. Now, it could have been solved. I mean, when people go on TV and they talk about illegal immigration and, it's about the rule of law and it's about not giving services to these people. We need to protect the wages of the citizens who are already here. All of those arguments are true. And they are actually decent arguments, but the real heart and soul of where this anti-illegal immigrant, the real motivating factor is race. And the Republicans won't admit it, but it's definitely true. I mean, if it were Norway on our southern border and it were white Norwegians pouring into the United States, I sincerely doubt they'd have as big a problem with it. And that's really the root of, because you could see someone making a successful political argument if they could cure or cover up the racist tendencies of their own base. Now, Trump just totally disregarded it and became, one of them. He became their id. He became their spokesman. And he didn't heal the racist tendencies or paper over the racist tendencies. He became one with them and, started off his campaign famously saying, they're not sending good people. They're sending rapists and, basically thugs. So this problem isn't going to go away. Even if Trump loses the election, the Republicans are going to have to still deal with Now, there's a lot of, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Republicans are racist, okay? I'm saying that there is a hardcore